Mezirow argues that learning only really takes place where there's a process of transformation by the teacher. And in this particular model, the model of transformative learning, Mezirow points out that transformation actually begins with a dilemma, a problem for the teacher, a problem which needs to be resolved in some way, which the teacher needs to find some sort of solution to. It's only through having this problem that the teacher has the potential to transform their practice, to transform themselves as a teacher. And in this way, there are a number of phases for the teacher to go through. What Mezirow talks about is a disorienting phase. There's something which causes some issue, some problem for the teacher. And because of that issue, because of that problem, the teacher needs to go through a process of self-examination. What are their feelings in relation to the experience? How are they thinking about it? How are they trying to rationalize what happened? And this then leads into an exploration of the assumptions that the teacher has and the value of those assumptions about their own role as a practitioner. And from this, then, there can only be a process of transformation taking place. The exploration of the self that Mezirow is talking about here is very much a process of transformation, in the sense that it's about exploring and planning and developing new knowledge, new understanding about the role. That's what transformation is about in this model. It's about the teacher developing a much clearer perception, a much deeper understanding, more clarity in the knowledge about what they're doing. So part of transformational learning needs to be about testing out the different roles that the teacher can take on, and within those roles, building up a level of confidence in relation to the role in the classroom. With time and with transformation, the teacher can become more confident as a practitioner. In order for that confidence to occur, that self-confidence to develop, feelings and emotions, along with assumptions and beliefs, have to be integrated into the teacher's perception of themselves. And this starts to develop different perspectives for the teacher on their role in the classroom. What is particularly striking about the transformational model is that it is about learning, but it is very much about managed learning. It's about the teacher taking responsibility and taking control of learning from experience. And therefore, it might not be direct experience. It is learned experience. It's acquired experience in the classroom. And it's about linking knowledge that is acquired from training or from literature or from research with the experience that is had in the classroom. So we can look at a particular sequence which helps us understand Mezirow's model. And it is very much starting with this disorienting phase, this confusing, problematic stage. And what the teacher needs to do at this point is to try to get a clear picture of what is happening, what is actually taking place. And from this picture, then, the reflective practitioner moves on to critically reflect on their own assumptions in relation to what's going on in the classroom, trying to understand the role and trying to be very critical about that role. In terms of that critical reflection, it's very important here for the teacher to think about what they were actually trying to do. Rather than externalizing the process of teaching, it's about internalizing teaching and understanding what their purposes were. The exploration, therefore, of roles becomes part of this cycle, part of transformative learning, and really is the underpinning concern in relation to this model. How does the teacher interpret? What is the teacher interpreting? How critical is the teacher being? It's only with questions like these that the level of reflection develops transformation. If the reflection is quite superficial, then learning is actually not going to be transformational. Change is not going to happen. So it does require a certain level of criticality. And as with all models we've seen, of course, the transformational model has to lead to some sort of action. It's not just about thinking, it's also about doing. And really, then the teacher needs to think about the action in terms of change as a change process. And what are the consequences of that change? Could there be some dangers involved in it? How will it affect students' learning? What are the negative effects as well as the positive? And this is very much then, as a transformational process, something which through a cycle is repeated. The interesting thing about this, because it's focused on learning, it's very much about acquiring knowledge, knowledge from experience rather than knowledge from texts. And a lot of people say that this is perhaps the most valuable knowledge for the reflective practitioner to acquire. So it is about trying out new roles, experimenting, and acquiring knowledge through that experimentation to become a better teacher.